What's going on, guys? Mike here. So today got some time. The car's over getting the wrap finished up. Hopefully next week be able to pick it up. So I got both my motors here. I've got my primary and I've got my backup over there. I do have to, because I swapped chassis manufacturers. I went with the Hyper, and when you go with the Hyper, the motor mounts are different. They actually give you an extra motor mount that bolts to the inside of the frame to the front of the motor, compared to the other chassis I had, the King chassis, which it just mounted two flat plates to the bottom of the car, allowed the motor to slide back and forth. Hyper is on the frame rail, the up tube, and it allows it to slide forward and back. And there's no mount at the bottom, so you have the rear mount. You have the rear mount, and then you have the front mount. So what's happening is you get in an accident, or car gets banged, you flip it with just a flat mount. You end up twisting the motor mounts, which ain't no good. So what Hyper has done is they give you the rear mount and also the front mount, so it holds the motor in place to the actual chassis, the main cage of the chassis. So it keeps the structure there, so you don't really bend the motor plates up. Now, I'm sure you'd bend them up if you had a really bad wreck. So today, I'm going to go ahead and tap both these engines to get them ready when I get the car back. I'm going to need to drill out both of these and tap them to 1/2" 20. So what you're going to need is, to do this, you're going to need a 29/64 drill bit. That works good with the 1/2" by 20 tap. And then you're going to need a 1/2" by 20 tap for your bolt here. And your bolt will thread right in to the side of your engine. Now, to do this, each motor is going to be different. This is, I guess you'd say, for the R6. This is a black and silver series R6. Both of these are. But to do this, you're going to need some tape. You really don't need the tape, but you're going to need the tape, 29/64 drill bit. You're going to need something to spin your tap with. I just got a 1/4" ratchet with an 8mm socket to go on the square end of the drive here for the tap. Some kind of a gauge. You can use a stick and a Sharpie if you don't have a caliper. You need a drill and a drill bit, and the 29/64 drill bit. So as far as finding my depth here on the engine for what I need to, the depth for where I need to drill here, I'm going to stick it in as far as I can go on the engine. I'm going to run my caliper down for my depth, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that out, and now that I have my depth, I'm going to mark it both on my tap and on my drill bit, my depth, so I don't go farther than that. And what you do is you just wrap tape around it, or you can take a Sharpie and wrap, you could write directly on it with a Sharpie. Now, leave a little bit of room, so put the tape a 1/16, or you could even go a little bit more than that, farther in, so that way when you drill it, you don't drill too far in and then damage your motor, because you'd be drilling into the head here, and you don't want to damage your motor. So I use the tape as a marker so I know where to stop. Same thing with the tap. And then we're going to start off with drilling it, get our depth. After that, we're going to clean out the hole. Then we're going to start tapping it, and then we'll put our bolt in. And this is already tapped from the factory. It's a smaller bolt. I believe it's a 3/8 bolt that goes in there. But we're going to change it to a 1/2" 20 bolt. So it's a 1/2" bolt with 20 pitch. So we're going to drill this out, and we'll get our depth, and we'll go from there. Alright, so when you do this, make sure when you put your bit in here, it's nice and straight, and drill it at a slow speed. So get going slow and make sure you're nice and straight inside the hole there. You don't want to drill this off center, because then your bolt's not going to want to go in straight. Alright, so after you drill the hole out, and you see we don't want to go too far, because then we actually get into the cylinder head. So we went just far enough for the bolt. We don't need to go any farther. You can if you want, but I wouldn't. So now we're going to go ahead and start tapping this hole. We're going to work it in and out and go all the way down with a tap. Alright, so when you go to tap this, you want to make sure you start this nice and straight. You don't want your bolt going in crooked. And then what we can do is take our bolt and insert our bolt. And the bolt should literally just screw, nice and easy, right in there, nice and straight, no problems. Again, if you don't blow it out good, you're going to have the bolt become tight. So if you have an air compressor, blow some air in there. If not, use your mouth. I do have an air compressor, I'm just too lazy to hook it up. But other than that though, that's basically it on drilling and tapping the engine mount for this R6. So other than that though, this thing's pretty much ready to go in the car. We also still have the giveaway going on. Visit Trekcul Motorsports on Facebook. If you have a Facebook, give us a like, we appreciate it. Other than that though, thanks for hanging out with us today. Y'all have a good one.